What's going on, everyone? I'm Jaren, and today we are talking about the new A24 horror film, Talk to Me. We follow a group of friends who discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand. As they become addicted to the new thrill, one of them goes too far and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. Australian twin directors Danny and Michael Philippa are very well known for their YouTube channel called Raka Raka. Their wild and outrageous talents have earned them their reputation and have showcased a lot of their passion for filmmaking. They even worked as PAs on the 2014 horror hit The Babadook. They announced their feature film debut back in 2019, where the entire cast was heavily involved with the concept to Talk to Me, and this earned them a lot of positive reception through critics, through film festivals, hailing it the scariest movie of the year. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to calling this the scariest film of the year, but if I'm going to be honest, this is probably the most refreshing and unique take on the possession subgenre that I've seen in quite some time. In a way, it's atmospheric, that it kind of hooks you in with the fun thrills and really weighs on you with the dread, sinking beneath your skin until it thickens. Nowadays, I normally get impatient with horror movies that don't dish out all the details without the promise of a payoff. And this really goes for A24 produced films, and that's because they ask and demand that you suspend a lot of your beliefs to how the mechanics to a story might work or the world that the filmmaker wants to submerge you in. Here and there, it works, and then some ideas seem completely far fetched without so much of an explanation. But with that being said, a lot of things are actually scarier when it isn't really explained to you. Things that you don't understand, especially when they're forces beyond the grave. And in this case, we have our embalmed hand that is able to connect our main characters to the other side and make contact with various spirits that probably would like to use our bodies as their own vessels for a little under 90 seconds. But if we let them stay that long, they might want to stay. Now, this whole euphoric thrill has gone viral, offering many others to try it out, but with the direction and twists and turns that they decide to go through, we never really get the origins of this particular hand explored. Just speculation with what it is able to do and who passed them on to it last. I thought the entire cast ensemble was near perfect. I was actually impressed with how tightly written and developed these characters were, whether they were just having fun, delving into the emotions, or really racking up the fear. I cared for each and every one of these characters and what was happening to them. In a way, the story really evokes the struggles associated with grief and depression. When the teenagers get possessed, I do find admiration in the additional details when it comes to their physical performance, and they could get into eye contacts, their makeup, or even change their voices in post-production, and that could be just like any other possession sequence that you've seen before, but here the actors go the extra mile and they gesture, they motion their bodies, and they even stretch a lot of their facial expressions to the point where it characterizes a lot of the souls that come in and out of each session. Leading this ensemble is Sophie Wilde, who plays our main character Mia, and she delivers a breakout performance and inadvertently communicates with a deceased loved one through the hand. Now, she is challenged and channeling all these various emotions, especially when she invites the audience to step into her shoes and really get a perspective of how she feels. And that is because a lot of the decisions that she makes are very questionable and somewhat leading up to a terrible path, and you are hoping that she just does the right thing. And I think that really shows the actress promise, a lot of her potential, and she has a leading future, especially for her talent. I did love that they leaned into the prosthetics, the makeup, and just the practical effects when it came to the entities that make haunting appearances on screen. Now, I did find it quite unsettling when they wouldn't properly frame the entities in front of the camera, like it was almost blurry, like your eyes are trying to adjust in the dark, and somehow they managed to remain on frame just a little bit longer than I expected. You're used to a lot of horror movies just doing a little bit of a quick cut, but no, you would just be trying to have your eyes focus on something that you can't necessarily comprehend, especially if this person is a little distorted. Just some of the compiled images that they chopped up and fed to the viewers was very disturbing that I remained in my seat frozen half the time. Other than the meaningful cinematography, the sound design and mixing was very pure. In reminiscent to Hereditary, the sound and score would later follow into a lot of the things that you were seeing or a lot of the things that you were feeling. Instead of trying so hard to lead a scene with something bombastic in order to scare you or to force a composure in order to ride out those tears. It really just guided you into every crafty transition. I actually love that. They kept this film at a tight runtime of 94 minutes, but if I'm going to be honest, I could have used 20 more minutes of this. And that is because they had a really great turning point for the third act, and once things begin to get interesting, it ends right away. Now, don't get me wrong, this is one of my big gripes about the film. From me hailing this the best horror picture of the year, I'm just thinking that the final frame was shockingly superb. I just could have used a lot more meat on that final bite because there were so many unanswered questions and unfulfilled arcs. And don't give me that less is more bullshit, because they could have trimmed down a lot of those possession scenes. And here, there's just so much is just missing. It almost felt like the ending of Lazarus Effect, if you've seen that movie. Overall, I thought this was a reminiscent of films like Flatliners meets Ouija for the Gen Zs. It's a chilling and cautionary tale that really pulls a lot of morals from various directions in order for any viewer to relate to. I desperately demand a sequel to this one-hit wonder, yet the ambiguity had really stuck with me since I left the theater. Knowing that this feature debut came from a couple of YouTubers gives aspiring filmmakers who started off on that platform hope. I think Talk to Me is a must-see for all horror fans and worth supporting. Alright guys, that's all I got to share about that movie. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Go ahead and check it out if you feel like it. I'm Jaren. Look forward to more reviews, and I will see you guys at the movies. Take care.